Now here I am in Michigan. I flew to Michigan to see a friend and to watch the NBA Finals. Been a crazy summer so far. I moved my apartment into a house, and that was a pain. And I moved my classroom from the second story to a new school, also second story, so also a pain. I then flew to Michigan. I got sick on my flight home. That's no fun. And then I drove to California and did a little road trip, and that's the first half of my summer. If you're watching this and you're in my class, that means you spent most of your life in Vegas, most likely. This is what you don't get in Vegas. So we have some very nice perks. One of the nice things about Michigan or other places of the country is they actually have grass, and it is just trees everywhere. Michigan campus. I was gonna read you a bunch of Michigan facts, but instead I'm just gonna tell you what I thought of it. It was extremely green, pretty. It was flatter than I expected, and there's just water everywhere. I read that you're never more than 6 miles away from a body of water or 85 miles away from one of the Great Lakes. That's crazy considering some parts of the country it would take a long time to get to a body of water. Here I'm on Michigan campus, which is historic. It's been around over 150 years, and it had a nice mix of old and new buildings and architecture. Michigan is often referred to as the Wolverine State, even though there's no longer any Wolverines left in Michigan. While I was in Michigan, I did some reading, writing, I visited a friend, and we went to a Tigers game and watched some basketball. It was a lot of fun. Detroit is the biggest city in Michigan by quite a bit. However, it's been on the decline over the past decades due to the motor industry declining. One thing I noticed was, look at the sky. I mean, I don't think we get skies like that in the West Coast. It felt like the sky went forever and it was just clouds and clouds and clouds. Made for a really pretty day. Now, you really can't go to Michigan without visiting a Great Lake, and I'm glad we did this. It wasn't extremely exciting, but it's memorable and a historic place. Some of the biggest lakes in the whole world right there. And kind of neat also, right on the other side of that lake, that land over there, well, it's not American soil. That's Canadian soil, Canada. Even my cell phone company said, "Welcome to Canada." I never technically crossed, but apparently they didn't know, and a bald eagle of all things. Pretty cool. Now, you saw me try Tim Hortons, something we don't have on the West Coast, and we also don't have White Castle on the West Coast, and, well... Oh, wow. I've only been to 6 Major League Baseball parks. I actually thought it was more, but I really like Tiger Stadium. It's ranked around the middle of the pack, 15th to 20th best stadium of all the baseball stadiums in the country, but I really like it. It's ranked as the second best stadium I've been to out of the 6, right behind PNC, or whatever they're calling Giants Park at the moment. That's Ty Cobb, one of the best baseball players of all time, and they had some really neat statues throughout the park. You can't go to a baseball game without eating a hot dog. We're also lucky we got to see one of the best pitchers in the league right now. Skubal is 8-1. He pitched a great game. He had 10 strikeouts in the first inning. He struck out the side, meaning he struck out all 3 batters in a row, by the way. This game was fun because we saw 2 home runs robbed, some great catches, a grand slam. Just a really entertaining ball game, a nice day, a little breezy for me. Probably the reason I got sick on the way home, but overall a great time. Game was a lot of fun, really liked the stadium, thought it was underrated, and here is just a hilarious sign I found all over Michigan. Injure or kill a worker. They just want you to know you're going to pay $7,500 and it could be 15 years or more. It's hilarious. After I landed back in Vegas, I drove to California to visit with my brother. We got in a little argument, which happens between brothers, sisters, family all the time, but I think we settled it, worked it out, and moving on, loving each other. I checked into a fancy hotel in Orange County for a few nights, a little too fancy for my liking, but it did have a nice view from the window and a sunset. There's the pool, it had a big cool TV near the pool, and this sign by the pool, well, it's worth it. They could have chose to written this sign however they wanted. Persons having currently active diarrhea or who've had active diarrhea within the previous 2 weeks should not be allowed to enter the pool water. Like, who's checking that? This is the funniest thing. We'll see. Way better than I expected. Well, that'll wrap up the first video. I'm not sure if I'll make a part 2, but that feels like part 1 of my summer. Been a little stressful, been a little fun, and I hope the second half is even better.